Yes.
Let's go.
Yep,
Now,
there it is.
somebody hit
Okay,
the
we're-
right button.
See?
Now, okay, hold.
And now for my next trick.
Okay,
Yeah.
join the meeting. If you're you use that link I emailed to you to join the meeting.
You can still go ahead and talk.
Yeah, you can. You can
Yeah,
go
go
ahead
ahead,
and
Tom.
introduce it.
Oh, yeah?
Tell them everything's wonderful.
Okay, am I in the square? All right, well, good evening, everybody, and those of you that are viewing at home, thanks for joining us this evening. Before we get going, I want to update you on a few things, and then we'll have Denny give us a prayer and
Okay.
then go into his presentation. First of all, Scott, would you like to give a brief report on the zoo, our zoo days?
The zoo days. Yeah.
Steve?
So, you there? You good?
There.
All right. Pay no attention to the guys behind the curtain. Anyway, so the zoo days went very well. Probably one of our best attended zoo days. And even with Tuesday being a rainy day in the afternoon, we had lunch inside the cafe, and I was thinking, okay, I got 30 people signed up. I'm lucky to be able to get maybe 60 of them and everything like this. And we had like 115 show up. So
Wow.
that was it was amazing, and they hung out for us the whole afternoon, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So and they were very appreciative. They were very good group. Yeah, and so all of them were very much that way. So. I was talking to Marv about this. It's so popular. I says that we should probably have another 2 days to that, but we've got to come up with some more people. So if any of you are interested in helping us out with that type of thing, that would be awesome. We'd love to have you guys join us. So
All right,
Thank you,
thank you, Scott.
I sent you another link, Denny.
It just keep loading.
We have a creation weekend coming up at Pacific Heights Baptist Church, obviously in Pacific, Missouri, on May 30th and 31st. Friday night, the 30th, Scott and I will be doing one day over coffee. And then Scott will be doing a presentation on creation versus evolution. Why does it matter? And then on Saturday, there'll be a children's program, and we'll have 3 sessions on Saturday where you can pick between 2 talks at each session. More information on our website, obviously mocreation.org or missouricreation.com. Either of them will get you there. Reminder that July 24th through the 26th, the Creation Research Society's, what would you call it? It's not their annual meeting.
it's a conference.
It's a conference. They're having a conference here in St. Louis, and there'll be a lot of people that you see in PhD creationists will be coming in and presenting papers and doing a few things. We do need, they have asked us to help them with volunteers. So we need volunteers on the 24th, 25th, and 26th. You can find out more information at creationresearch.org. And or you can email us through our website, and we'll be glad to provide information for you. Our next meeting in June, the topic is our finely tuned universe, and the presenter will be Hannah Klein, who is our newest board member. And Hannah is she is an amateur astronomer, and she writes articles on astronomy for Creation. What's the blog's name?
New Creation.
New Creation, that's it. New Creation blog. So so that'll be our June meeting. And then we have a program we're going to be doing in at Living Waters Academy in October, and also at the church there as well, Scott.
What's that?
It's Living Waters Academy is part of Fellowship of
Fellowship
Wildwood.
Correct.
So tonight's presentation, if we can get everything clicking here.
Well, they can hear me.
Okay.
Don't have a problem there.
So tonight's presentation is elephants, camels, and whales. Oh my. Right?
Yes.
And our speaker is Denny Genovese. And Denny has a unique story to tell. Denny was, how many years ago, Denny?
About 33, 34 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, how many years ago with the heart?
Oh, 8.
8 years ago.
Oh. Yeah.
Denny, the doctor had told Denny that his heart was failing and that he told you to go home and get your affairs in order, correct?
Well, he said I better go to Barnes or I'm going to die.
Okay. So at any rate, they told him, hey, we'll put you on the list for a donor, but you know, the odds are there's so many people on the list. The odds of finding one that there's not somebody else waiting who's a match, it's next to nothing. About a week later, he got a phone call and said, you better get in here. They had a heart for him.
Oh.
And he came to me after I'd been going to Bible study with Denny. Denny came to me one Saturday when he had come back and he said, God saved me for a reason. He said, I want to do what you guys do. So,
But I didn't know Scott was going to be in it.
so Denny, he had been an avid reader of Creation magazine, and so Denny started putting some presentations together, but he's really found something he loves with these animals. He's one of our zoo speakers. He never misses, and he researches these animals in the awesome way that God designed each one of them. So tonight, he's going to tell us about 3 of them: elephants, camels, and whales.
Oh, my.
Oh, my.
Yes.
There you go.
Denny, I always call you Genovese. You always say Genovese.
It's either.
Okay,
It's
that's what I
whichever
thought.
makes you feel like it.
You're Italian, yeah?
Yes, I am.
One last time, I will try something.
Yeah, one thing good about a heart transplant is don't know anything about it when you go in. Don't know what's going to happen when you wake up. It shocks the heck out of you. You got tubes coming out of you all over the place. You know, like, wow, what happened? But the good Lord took care of me.
Yeah, he did. He did. So, okay, I'm sorry.
Can I go ahead and can I start the presentation?
You really want to do that?
Yeah, well, I want to start with a prayer.
Yes, do that, man.
Thank you, Lord, for having us here tonight, and that I might be able to teach about the beautiful creation that you have done with the camels, the whales, and the elephants. And I hope the people take this in and learn it and understand the design, the perfect design that you have made for all these animals, and they're so different. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
So, I want to start with the camels. They're all mammals. All 3 of them are mammals. You got the camel, the elephant, and the whale. Okay, so we're going to start with the camel, and you can see that.
Entering the studio.
I'm waiting for the pictures.
Yes,
And then we'll start you.
man behind the curtain.
Where is your thing at, right?
Yeah.
That's where you want to do?
Right there.
From that slide.
First in the beginning, yes. There we go. We got the camels. We're going to go with the first one with the camels. Okay, we've got the dromedary and the Bactrian. All right, basically the dromedary is 90% of all camels that are out there.
Camera's right before that.
Ah, thank you. I'll stay over here then.
Yes.
I keep forgetting about that. And they have to live in the desert. Okay? So, they have to be designed just perfectly for the desert. Everything about them, they have to be able to conserve water, be able to withstand the heat, withstand being where they're at. So everything about them is designed by Jesus Christ to live in the desert. And that's what's so amazing about it. Every part of his body is perfectly designed to withstand all the elements and everything in the desert. Okay, so there's a camel. There's his face. Everything about him is designed for the desert. You have to. I mean, if anyone says it came from another animal or some kind of evolutionary hogwash, this creature is everything is about him is about living in the desert. You notice that we're going to go all the way through his face, and we're going to go through his whole body and everything in it, and how it all works together, and make you realize how important every part of it is to make sure he survives. Those there are his ears. And you notice his ears, you notice all the hair on him, okay? Okay, it's because he keeps the sand out. Everybody, they have to keep the sand out of their ears, all right? Their eyes, they have eyelashes, they got the larger eyelashes. They've also got the smaller eyelashes, and then they've got a membrane that's over the eye. Now the membrane over the eye protects the eye from sand. They don't have hands like us, okay? They can't reach up there and scratch it or anything like that. Everything, okay, you go through it, you see a camel, you see the color. The color's like the sand. So you understand that the sun is not going to really reflect off that hard. It's going to be the same. You notice that is basically his legs and his neck and all that, it's all muscle. Okay, there's no fat. Why is there no fat? Well, for one thing, muscles dissipate heat, get rid of heat, all right? But fat holds on to heat. So his body was created to make sure that the whole part of his body, other than his hump, had fat on it, which was really interesting in the way that this was created like this, because the fact that it is, all the fat is in the hump, okay? Now, you understand that on the underside of his stomach, it's kind of callus-like to make sure he can lay down. He's got long legs, all right, you notice that? Why does he have long legs? Well, how hot is it in the summer? I mean, in the sand. I mean, basically in the desert, it's 120 degrees out there. How hot do you think that sand is? It'll hit 140 degrees out there. So it keeps him far away. He's got his knees have calluses on him to make sure he's protected. All right. And if you notice, if you look at a camel straight on, it's very thin. And that's another important. He's not an elephant. He doesn't have a real wide stem, so he doesn't take in a lot of heat. And he was created that way to make sure that if he's facing the sun, his body's not getting as much heat. Or he's facing away from the sun, his body's not getting as much heat. Now his feet. Now you see there how he's got very wide two-toed feet there, basically. They're like snowshoes. Okay, they're not like a horse. You put a horse in the desert, he's not going to be able to run because the sand, his feet are going to be sinking. Another thing about him, he's got the callus-like at the bottom of his feet. So he's created properly to stay on top of the sand all the way across. He also has a fat pocket that's inside of his foot. Now you have to know that was a design purpose to make sure he had the fat pocket in there, which helps him because basically he's a large animal, and it's 1,500 pounds, and he can live 30 to 40 years. Okay, everything, he's got the sole and that basically, and what's important then back there is these two toes. Why doesn't he have like an elephant foot where it's just one big pad? Because of the fact of it, like sand, you know how when you walk in the sand, one side will give away. It's interesting that all of a sudden it'll go away, and then all of a sudden it can hurt his walking, because remember, he was made to carry 300 to 400 pounds. All right, so he goes across the desert from one city to the next city to the next city all the time, and he's helping people or carrying people across the desert. He has to be very secure in his steps. So the Lord made sure that he had two toes. If one starts giving away, he's got support from that and from the fat pocket. So he's always got covered everywhere where he has to go. Now, what's interesting is, okay, you look at a camel and you think, all right, what's a camel going to eat in the desert? What's in the desert to eat? Anybody?
Cactus.
Cactus, exactly. That mouse has got to withstand cactus. All right. Now, if you notice the top of it, you notice the pallets up there. All right. And you notice the leathery lips all the way around. All right. Which helps them with that. And another thing is, all right, before I watch one more thing there, you're going to watch him eat this cactus. All right. He's going to put these thorns and these needles in his mouth. All right.
Yum.
And you see the split on top of his mouth there? It helps him move his jaws around. He can move his jaws around a lot wider to make sure that he can. What he's got to do is he's got to make that cactus. He's got to put it in a circle. All right. He's putting it in a circle and he's getting it ready, and now he's got to just dump it down his throat. And there he goes. Now, this is another look deep. It's on the side over here, on the sides of his mouth. These big papillas, basically, they're like cone-like shaped that withstand. They're kind of they're like your fingernails. Like your fingernails here is the stuff that's here. This is what this is on the sides of it, and inside of it, and on the tongue. Because remember, these cactus, grant you, these needles are long on them. So they've got to withstand that kind of pain. And it still hurts them sometimes. But with all this, it helps protect them from that. This mouth was made to be able to eat cactus. Now, would you like to put, you put a horse out there or any other mammal out there, what's going to happen? He's not going to eat that cactus a second time. There's no way. So another thing is to see how he rolled it there. Like I was saying, how he had it rolled. All right, so now it's rolling and rolling, and then he's ready to put it down into his stomach. All right. Now, once he puts it into his stomach, he brings it down, he dumps it down there, and then all of a sudden he lets it bacteria and enzymes and stuff is breaking it apart. And once it starts breaking it apart, it'll slip it over to stomach number 2. Now he's in the stomach number 2. Or now you got to ask yourself, well, wait a minute, why is there 2 stomachs or whatever? Why does that happen? All right, well, that's the way Jesus Christ created them. Okay, so it's something got to be important about that. Well, just say that he's walking across the desert all day long, okay? And he's walking across and he's getting hot and all that. He gets on it and he gets finally to the other end of the desert, and he's walking through the desert, and it's 120 degrees and the sand's 140 degrees, and he's got all this, he ate some cactus during the day, and then he gets to there at nighttime and he's ready to lay down, and he's ready to lay down there. So he lays down and he thinks, wait a minute, I'm hungry. All right, so now he's hungry again and he wants to eat. What he can do now is he can take that back up from his second stomach back into his mouth, and he can eat it again. And now he can eat it again, and now he can get hungry and get real fulfilled. All right, it's like what kids like. Wouldn't you like kids? I know that they would like chocolate. If they ate it again and they swallowed it and they bring it back up the second time, wouldn't that be tasty?
No.
So all of a sudden he takes it back up, and when he takes it back up into from a second stomach, and he's chewing it, and then he gets real comfortable, and then he brings it down and he sends it back down to his third stomach. Now he's in his third stomach. And what happened in his third stomach is that all the minerals, all the vitamins, all the water, everything is taken out of it. Mm-hmm. And what's left is nothing but he sends to the intestines and poos it out. You know that when he poos it out, they can use that poo to start fires. It's that dry because they were created by Jesus Christ to make sure that there's nothing to be lost when they're out there in the desert. Because remember, they can only live out there for 10 days without water almost, okay? They can live out there for weeks without food, but they need water, okay? They can only hold so much. You're out there in the desert all day. Now, they need water. They can drink up to about 30 gallons of water in 10 to 15 minutes, all right? 10 to 15 minutes, they can drink 30 gallons of water. All right, that's the size of your water tank in your house, okay? Or, a 30-gallon fish tank. They can dump that down in one gulp, okay? Now he's got it. He's got it all ready, and he's drinking it. Now, why can he do that? Why can he drink that much water? Where's it at? Where does he put it all? Yep, he puts it into red blood cells. Now, this is a real amazing thing right here, is that these here are round blood cells, and these here are oval. Pretty good, huh? Okay. But these here is every mammal in the world. Every mammal in the world except for the camel. The camel is the only mammal in the world that has oval-shaped blood cells. Tell that to an evolutionist. How does he explain that one? Okay. So why do they have oval shaped blood cells? They're oval shaped for the fact of it is that when they drink all this water, that's where the water goes. It goes into the blood cells. And because they're oval, they'll take 2.5 times as much of their size in water. Now that's important because they can hold a lot more water. The second part of the importance of it is that as they go longer and longer in the desert, they get to the point in the desert where they're dehydrated. And once you start getting dehydrated, your veins and your arteries start constricting. Okay, they start getting thinner and thinner and thinner. Well, when these start getting thinner and they're round, they're going to clump up more because they won't spread out like the oval ones. The oval ones will start going wider and thinner and be able to slide through your arteries and your veins. I mean, that's Jesus Christ. I mean, it amazes me that these things are like this, that they can create these things. Now, the fat, okay, another thing about it is like when I was talking to him going across the desert, all right, so he ate his cactus, he's getting hot, and the fat's all up in the top up there. And that fat's up there, so what's it taking in? It's taking in heat, okay? All day it's taking in heat. And then at nighttime he lays down. All right, now he's laying down at night. And what happens at nighttime in the desert? It gets real cold, drops down, it'll drop 7 degrees in one night. So what happens? So all of a sudden he's laying down, and as he's having this cozy little meal, he regurgitated back up from stomach number 2. It's starting to get colder. So wait a minute. Now our creator thought about that. The fat up there that's got all the heat in it starts dissipating, coming down to the rest of the body and keeping it warm. So now he's a nice cozy, and on top of it, he wakes up in the morning and it's chilly. So what's his temperature in the morning? Well, his temperature in the morning is like 94 degrees. So what's our temperature? Our temperature is 98.6. His is 94 degrees, okay? But as the day goes on, and as it gets warmer, and then it gets warmer, and it gets warmer, his temperature rises. He'll go from 94 to 96 to 98, 100, 104. He'll get up to 106 degrees in the same day inside of his body as his internal temperature. So when it gets warmer and warmer, it doesn't bother him at all. So then he doesn't have a problem with the temperature as much as we would. He doesn't start sweating until 110, 112 degrees. So, and he's got special absorbing fur on his body, which is basically he keeps the sun away from the body more so. This fur is so it's got like an air pocket in between it, where all of a sudden the sun hits it, and it basically protects and keeps the sweat from leaving the body too. So it's very important. All right. A camel's fur has thermostatic properties. Thick fur has a special absorbing substance to protect the camel from hot days and cold nights. So everything on this creature has been made to live in the desert. They can protect themselves. They run races. They can bite. They can bite. You get near them and you upset them, they'll bite you. If not, they'll kick you. If not, they'll throw up on you. Okay, whatever you like. So, but the thing is, you just got to realize that how they were created perfectly for the desert, every part of them. All right. Now you see this. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Sometimes this is basically a camel. What he's doing, he's showing off. He's trying to get himself a mate.
Look out.
Yep. He's saying, hey, look at me. That's that. They call it a love tank or something like that. Or basically he's showing off saying, honey, I want you, you know? So it's kind of crazy, but that's what he does. That's one of their mating rituals. And they like to race the camels. They have fun with that. Now we get into the most fascinating thing about the camels. Now we've talked about the whole part of the outside of their body, their bloodstream, their fat, all that. But how do they keep the moisture from leaving their nose? Every time we breathe in air, we breathe out air. But when we breathe out air through our nose, we breathe out moisture. Okay? They don't. Well, how does he do that? Okay? Our nose has like 2 to 3 square inches of membranes in them. Their nose is like 150 square inches of membranes. And what happened is it's got a special absorbing substance like in it. And let's see, where am I at here? Oh, we can bring it to here though. But all of a sudden he breathes it in through the air in through his nose. And it goes through all this 150 square inches of special membranes, and it's moist. And what it does is it cools down the hot air coming in. And what it's doing is cooling down this hot air, and then it brings it right through it. And guess what's right on the other side of these membranes is a vein going right back to the heart. Now, this vein is going right back to the heart is cooling down the heart, okay? But the most fascinating thing about that is that when the vein is going back to the heart, and all of a sudden it starts getting very hot, and the body is starting to get very hot, the vein, you can notice here, the vein that's going back to the body constricts. It just closes. Now, I mean, we got thousands of miles of veins in our bodies and arteries and capillaries and everything. But that one that's going back from behind the nose, going back to the heart, closes. And once that closes, then all of a sudden it's rerouted to go up into some capillaries that are going around in a circle before it reroutes itself back to the heart. So it's going around a circle, and guess what? The arteries coming from the heart going up that way go into little capillaries going around them, and it cools down the hot blood coming from the heart before it goes into the brain. So now the brain thinks it's even cooler up there by 5 to 6 degrees. So with the body temperature up to 106, and with that dropping down the brain down to another 6 degrees, say it's like 112, it really helps the animal from sweating. And you can see the capillaries up here and how they intertwine next to each other, okay? And it goes through and goes all the way down into the area and then back down to the heart. I mean, I couldn't have thought of that. I mean, only our creator, Jesus, could have done it. They're called ships of the desert, all right? And there they are. They're toting people across the desert. They go weights up to 300 to 400 pounds, okay? They can go elephant that weighs up to 11 tons, 22,000 pounds, and get up to 13 feet high. It's massive, okay? So elephants' body language is used to communicate. They're finding out a lot about elephants, how they communicate and stuff, and I'll show you a short video at the end of this. They like to touch and show affection, reassure, protect, mate, care for each other, and explore. They can walk up to 50 miles a day and travel over 300 miles for water. Okay, so let's start with the body. Let's go back to the body for the elephant. Shouldn't it be somewhat the same as a camel? No, it's not, because they're for totally different environments. All right, elephant eyelashes can grow up to 5 inches. Okay, keep the foreign matter out. They have, just like the camel, they have 3 eyelids, okay, to protect and lubricate the eye, particularly when elephants are bathing, dusting, or eating. All right, I'll show you a little short video about the trunk of the elephant.
If you were to dissect an elephant trunk, it would actually look more like the inside of your tongue than your nose. Trunks, tongues, and even octopus arms are unique organs called muscular hydrostats. That means they're made almost entirely of muscle, and an elephant's trunk has a lot of them, about 40,000, compared to around 650 muscles in the entire human body. Normally, muscles depend on bones and joints to move and exert force. When we pick up a dumbbell, for example, our bicep pulls on our forearm bones, and that causes them to swing up around our elbow joint. But in an elephant trunk, there are no bones to pull and no joints to hinge on. The muscles take on that role instead. This makes trunks incredibly flexible, so they can move in all directions. And all those muscles mean they're powerful enough to lift hundreds of pounds, yet delicate enough to pick up a tortilla chip without even cracking it.
So it's totally different than the other mammal we just saw. Okay, so yeah, I can't imagine anyone thinking that these things were evolved from evolution. It's just silly. They can pick up 700 to 900 pounds with their trunks. Okay, tusks are important for foraging, digging, stripping bark, and self-protection. They don't drink with their trunks as it is where a straw, but instead use it as like a glass, so they can drop it into their mouth. Okay. A lot of people think that the trunk they can drink through that, but no, they can't. All right, and you notice that they help us humans. That's another thing that I've noticed about all the different animals, that Christ, when he creates these animals, he creates them for a purpose. They're for a purpose of helping the humans, or their purpose for helping the environment. Each one, every one, no matter what it is, they're all there to help us or the environment. All right, so like he's helping with moving he has no problem picking up that, and that's probably 400 or 500 pounds right there. The elephant's trunk serves as a nose, a hand, an extra foot, a signaling device, a tool. It gathers food, siphoning water, dusting, digging, and much more. I mean, that amazes me how something with 40,000 muscles can be controlled by one thing. All of a sudden, you have these 40,000 muscles doing whatever you want it to do. It's really good. Elephants make a forward to backward motion to grind their food using their molars. Okay, most of us grind sideways and forward and backward and all around. All they do is they only, when they grab the grass or whatever they're grabbing and pull into their mouth, they're only chewing like this all the time. All right, now they're the only herbivore that does that. Okay, here we go, another only, again, just like the camel was only one that has the blood. So we know that, I mean, everything shows that evolution is a farce, right? Each tooth is roughly the size and shape of a brick and weighs about 4.5 pounds. Okay, those teeth are big. African and Asian elephants have 26 teeth at any given time. All right, you see the two big ones up top, right? Those are called teeth too. They're tusk. Some people, but they are teeth. And then elephant goes through 6 total sets of teeth in a lifetime. So they eat so much all the time that they grind their teeth always, their molars and everything, just constantly grinding, that their teeth get so worn down that they just fall out. Well, Jesus Christ thought of that one. Every time it grinds like that, it falls out, another one comes from the behind and just keeps coming in. New ones keep filling in until the point where all the teeth are gone, okay, except for the last group. And now once they get to the upper age and they get old, they don't get any more teeth, okay? So then they can't eat anymore, and then they go off to the elephant graveyard, all right? So, but you notice inside of his mouth, does that look like a camel's mouth? Not at all. They're totally different than a camel's mouth. It's nice and smooth, not a problem. I mean, there's nothing about any kind of pits or anything like that to withstand it. Could you imagine them eating a cactus? That wouldn't happen, okay? The elephant ears act as a cooling system where flapping their ears, large blood vessels near the surface. Now, they made large blood vessels, which are usually deep inside of us or inside of all animals, mammals, or on, you can see them. You can almost see the veins up in there. You see that? All right. So you can do that. And with that, large blood vessel near the surface of the skin helps regulate heat loss. So as the veins going through the ears and all that, and he's flapping them, he's cooling them down as he's cooling down the body too. All right. So the ears are making sure that the body's cool at the same time it's cooling down the veins, and making sure that going back to the heart, it's cooling them down. Because this elephant's going to be out there in the hot of the Africa, and they're going to get warm. But Christ thought of that. They thought of every way that this animal can stay cool out there. So he's got his big ears, and that helps regulate him. All right, it's going back and forth and regulating the heat, making sure that he's fine. Well, but there's more. All right. You've only seen, I mean, you don't see many mammals with skin like this. And he's got all the creases in there. Why are there all these creases in there? Well, the elephants protect their skin from sunburn, bugs, and overheating. They plaster themselves in mud and throw dirt on them. But natural wrinkles in elephant skin help retain moisture while allowing heat to escape. So the moisture is staying in, and basically they get anywhere where the moisture can stay in here, and it stays in for a long time, and it keeps them cooler. Okay, so they keep the ears to keep them cooler. They keep the crevices in here that helps keep them cooler, and their hair. I mean, you really don't see a lot of hair on elephants. Okay, but they have found out now that when you have less hair, it cools you down. I know. I mean, I can tell you. So, unlike other animals which have thick hair that traps air and keeps the body warm, elephants have sparse hair, which actually helps them dissipate heat, making it critical for survival in hot climates. Now, I would have never thought of that. You know, it's amazing how these things are created. Elephants' temperatures also, their temperature does rise from 95 to 99, not as wide as that of a camel. And the skin on the elephant can reach weights up to 2,000 pounds. Can you imagine that? The skin is that thick on an elephant to make sure that it protects it. All right. So it's very important that they have that thick of skin. Now here are the elephants. They're another way that they can cool themselves down. They have to cool themselves down. They do it by dusting themselves. And they'll use the same trunk that they use to bring up water to get dust and dirt, throw that on their body. They do whatever they can to do that. And the cushions at the feet of an African elephants are highly specialized structures adapted to enable pain-free weight bearing and locomotion of the largest terrestrial animal. Their feet, the way that they're made, has to withstand. Remember, these animals get up to 15, 20,000 pounds. I mean, they're large, huge animals. So, okay, you look at the animal and you see that it's like the camel's got a small fat pocket. Now, the elephant has a large area on the back side of it. It's got a large pocket right there. And it's funny because they're always walking on their tippy toes all the time. All right, so that means that they're always up like this. Now, if they're walking on all 5 toes in the front, how do they do it? Because they'll keep falling back. Well, nope. Christ thought of that one. All of a sudden, he's got a stub in the back. All right, they got a special name for it. I just call it a stub. All right, elephant. Okay, they walk, but it's another one where basically it's on the back side of their foot, where it's basically it's got the 5 in the front and the 1 in the back with the fat in the middle, and this helps balance it out to make sure it's walking. So that's another thing to prove that evolution is stupid, because there's no way that would have happened. Okay. Now we'll go back to this. Walking in the mud. Now remember that they get near rivers, they go across rivers and everything like that. If they get stuck in the mud, they get a foot that's stuck in the mud, they got this big palm that all of a sudden they're stepping along, and then they push it down, and it pushes down, and it makes the big white space. And you know how you got your foot stuck in the mud, and then you pull it back out, and it's all that suction there. Now, could you imagine you sticking that down there, and you got 10,000 pounds on top of it, all right? And then you want to pull it out. Well, okay, our creator thought of that too. All right, when he pulls out his foot, the skin comes out first, right? And then the bone comes out after that. So all of a sudden, this big area becomes a small area when he's pulling out. So now he can get out of the mud. That's neat, I think. So Another thing is, I think the Lord just did this to help them get rid of the flies and the gnats that get around them. Elephant's tail can be used to caress and love and swing it like a baseball bat with pinpoint accuracy. So remember, he's trying to help them do that. He's got the right kind of tail to make sure to get rid of something that's aggravating him. They're good swimmers. Use their trunks as snorkels. Use their 4 legs to dog paddle. They can swim. All right, they can swim underwater. They don't have to walk on the bottom. Okay, here's one that's body fat to make themselves float. He can be floating, and look at where he's getting there, right there in his trunk, right up there. Floats on the side to rest. And an elephant can drink 30 to 50 gallons of water a day. All right, remember, they're eating all day long. They need something to help flush it down. This is showing some elephant now going across a river, and they basically just showing a bunch of them there. So it just proved that they basically they have the buoyancy to make sure that they can get across there. Mommy elephants are pregnant for 22 months, 200 pounds at birth, and 3 feet tall. All right. They're born with a thick coat of curly hair that helps them protect them from the sun when they're born. Then all of a sudden they start losing it and get the other, the sparse hair. The baby elephants stay with mom 16 years. Now this is an eating machine here. All right, eats 200 to 400 pounds of plant material every day. Every day he's eating that. Important for the ecosystem, digging water holes, creating footprints, opening habitat, dispersing seeds in their dung. All right, now when they eat, okay, they're eating 200 to 400 pounds of food a day. They digest not even half of it. Okay, so when you say they're eating 200 pounds, all right, 1/2 of it isn't even, the 100 pounds of it isn't even digested. It goes right through their system and goes right on out. All right, so and they're not like a camel. They don't have 3 stomachs. They have 1 stomach. So they can't break it down and stuff. So that basically with them, it's just, they just eat it, and then 40 to 50% of it or more, they do not digest. But that's important. It's important for the ecosystem, okay, the way it was created to help other animals, okay? So elephant dung is beneficial for many other animals and play a vital role in their ecosystem. It provides food, shelter, and contributes to the decomposition process, ultimately enriching the soil. All right? So you can see that in the dung there, you can see a lot of it's not even digested. It's just looking like it's just hay or grass basically pulled apart, and it goes right through the system. Well, that's important for the fact of it is now that's got potassium and nitrate and everything inside of it for other animals to eat. So now other animals can eat this now. And that's why God created them, to make sure that he can disperse all this dung all day long. Okay, he eats all day and he drops dung all day, so he's fertilizing everywhere. I don't know, I was just thinking on his mind of the Lord, I can think, okay, I got to make sure that I have elephants over here to do this and this, and everybody's got it, but they all have to work together. All right, elephants have one of the most closely knit societies of any living species, organized into birth families, bond groups, clans, and independent bulls. Different groups sometimes come together to socialize. The monarch female is the head of the group, protective, keeps them out of danger, and teaches the females how to care for the young. This here is going to show a little bit more about their interaction with each other.
It's a common saying that elephants never forget. But these magnificent animals are more than giant walking hard drives. The more we learn about elephants, the more it appears that their impressive memory is only one aspect of an incredible intelligence that makes them some of the most social, creative, and benevolent creatures on Earth. Unlike many proverbs, the one about elephant memory is scientifically accurate. Elephants know every member in their herd, able to recognize as many as 30 companions by sight or smell. This is a great help when migrating or encountering other potentially hostile elephants. They also remember and distinguish particular cues that signal danger, and can recall important locations long after their last visit. But it's the memories unrelated to survival that are the most fascinating. Elephants remember not only their herd companions, but other creatures who have made a strong impression on them. In one case, two circus elephants that had briefly performed together rejoiced when crossing paths 23 years later. This recognition isn't limited to others of their species. Elephants have also recognized humans they've bonded with after decades apart. All of this shows that elephant memory goes beyond responses to stimuli.
So they found out a lot more about elephants, how they interact with other elephants and everything. So there's a herd of them, and we're going to go to the next one now. Now we do the whale. All right, the enormous whale created by Jesus Christ. All right, another mammal, okay? The other two were created on day 6. This one wasn't. This one was created on day 5. All right, so I guess it was just another thought from Jesus when he created these things.
The blue whale. The largest animal ever to have lived. Bigger than any dinosaur. We know surprisingly little about them, but that's changing. Scientists are revealing the secrets of these rare giants.
Okay, the magnificent mammal can grow up to 100 feet long and live 80 to 90 years and weigh between 100 and 175 tons. That is gigantic. It really is. So, we just saw the largest land animal, or now the largest mammal in the world. Now you can see the difference of a human and an African elephant there, and then the great blue whale. A little bit larger than the elephant. All right, so now they have the little babies. Okay, the baby blue whale length 26 feet long, weighs about 6,000 pounds. They grow about 200 pounds a day for the first year. From conception to weaning, their growth rate is 1 billion-fold. Just think, okay, the sperm cell goes from 1/1000th of an inch conception to over 40,000 pounds in 6 months. Okay, he eats a lot. It really does. So, blue whales can travel hundreds of miles underwater and use sound to communicate, navigate, find food, and all that. They're believed to have excellent hearing, use air sinuses and bones to detect sound. They communicate using low-frequency whistles. They vocalize in an infrasonic frequency range, which can be heard for hundreds of miles. These sounds can reach levels of 188 decibels. Jet engine sounds reach only 140 decibels, but this infrasonic frequency is below 20 hertz. We can't hear below 20 hertz, okay? But they were created to make sure that they can send sounds out to other whales below 20 hertz. That is so cool, okay? I mean, way that these things are created, just love it. All right, now, blue whales with that much weight, you think you put a 300,000 pound object in the water, it's gonna sink. But not with them. They were created, they are neutrally buoyant. meaning their body was created just right. They have the same density as water around them, so they float without stress. Look at a submarine, okay? Drives through the water, it's equipment, but it had to be designed perfectly to be able to achieve this. So that mammal was created perfectly, okay? The tongue of a full-blown blue whale can weigh 8,000 pounds, size of an elephant, okay? And their mouth is wide enough to hold 100 people. Now think about that. Their mouth can hold 100 people, and their tongue is 8,000 pounds. How big of an animal can that whale swallow? Huh? Well, the blue whale do not have teeth. They have baleen special plates on top of their mouth to catch krill, which are broom-like bristles. Like there they are right there. You can see that. Okay. They catch the krill, and as they're closing their mouth, they push the krill to the top of their mouth with their huge tongue, which releases the water back into the ocean and keeps the krill, which is caught in a baleen. That is so neat that that the way that they were created to do that. Okay. Now, why did Christ create the whale, the blue whale? Okay. Well, there has to be a reason why. Okay. He's part of the ecosystem, so everything works together and for us to enjoy it here. So the main source of food for them is krill, is because their throat is only 6 to 8 inches. Their throat is only that big. Okay, that's all. A gigantic. It can hold 100 people in its mouth. All right, the tongue is 800 pounds, 8,000 pounds, but it can only have the throat basically 6 to 8 inches. Okay, and that's it. So they have to eat an awful lot of krill. Now, why is that important, that they're eating all this krill? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. All right. So there he's open his mouth wide to get all that krill right there. Basically, they come in huge bundles of them all together all the time. They take in about 15,000 gallons of water when they open their enormous mouth. That is why they must have stretch grooves. You see the stretch grooves? All right. All of a sudden, now this one here has got a whole lot of water in him. He's picking up all these krill. So basically, when he's opening up, the krill are little bitty, so he's got to open his mouth. And once he takes in all that water, it fills him up. I mean, huge amounts, 15,000 gallons. Okay. That is why they must have stretch grooves under their mouth to expand and take in all the water and krill, then release the water through the baleen plates. So and then they close their mouth with the baleen plates, and all of a sudden they push, the tongue pushes up, and it pushes out all the water, and then he gulps down all these krill. Now we know why. I mean, how he did it. Now we got to know why he did it. Okay, blue whales is a very important resource in the ocean. Whale poo spreads nutrients out close to the ocean surface, which boosts the growth of phytoplankton. Krill eat phytoplankton. The krill then get eaten by the whale. This poo is a genuine fertilizer for phytoplankton. Each bowel movement can release up to 400 pounds of iron-rich poo. Okay, and he does this all day long. So he's putting iron into it to make sure that the phytoplankton will take it, eat, and then the krill, and it all works, and the world goes round and round. Okay, scientists estimate phytoplankton produces 50% of the oxygen on Earth by removing the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and then releasing the oxygen as a byproduct. Blue whales are doing their part as terrific fertilizing machines. Now, the blue whale's 2 lungs have a combined total capacity of over 1,200 gallons for oxygen. To put this in perspective, the average adult human lung capacity is only 1.5 gallons. They have 1,200 gallons for oxygen. All right. With this massive lung capacity, they're the largest in the world. Blue whales can take in immense volumes of oxygen within 2 seconds in a single breath before diving. This gives the whale a long reserve of oxygen to use underwater. Okay. Additionally, their chest and rib cage are highly flexible. Now, that's something that's highly flexible. Like ours aren't. Basically, somebody hits us in the rib, we're going to break a rib. Theirs is highly flexible to maximize lung volume while inhaling. Their bodies were created to also store oxygen in their blood and in their muscle. They store oxygen in their blood cells. Now, wait a minute. What did the camel, what do they store in their blood cells? A lot of water. What do they store in their blood cells? A lot of oxygen. Wow. That's not from evolution. There's no way. It's not possible because it's totally different. One of the many attributes of the blue whale's lung is that they are very elastic. They can stretch and expand to hold large volumes of air. This helps to prevent the lungs from overinflating or rupturing at high pressure. Well, think about that too. They have to be flexible because if they're going down, way down 1,500 feet down in the ocean, what would happen to us? I mean, it would just crush us, okay? But their lungs are flexible, their body's flexible, so basically nothing gets broken or anything. They can go down and they come back up. They're designed correctly. Overall, the blue whale's lungs are a marvel of creation. They're perfectly created for deep diving lifestyles, which allow the whale to hold onto its oxygen for long periods of time. So, great lungs. This is their heart. It's a person inside of their heart. That's how big it is. All right. Their heart is the largest in the world. It weighs up to 400 pounds. Their heartbeat is so loud it can be heard up to 2 miles away. I haven't heard that yet, but that ought to be interesting. Okay. A blue whale's heart pumps about 60 gallons of blood with each beat, which is much. I mean, 60 gallons of blood. Okay, 60 gallons. That's like 500 pounds of blood. All right, which is much more than human heart, 2.4 ounces. A blue whale's heart rate slows dramatically while diving, sometimes to as low as 2 beats per minute. Okay, he holds everything he can once he goes down. When they breathe air, they open their blowholes, all right, and they exhale forcefully, contracting the muscles in their chest, releasing the column of air and water vapor that surrounds the hole that can be reached 40 feet into the air, getting rid of all the stale air in their lungs before taking in fresh, clean air. Then inhales fresh air, creating a vacuum that draws air into the lungs. Then the muscles around the blowhole automatically close. So all of a sudden, they come up on top, they blow out all the air out of them. But we don't do that, all right? We don't do what they do. They blow all the air out, and then they suck in all fresh, clean air, all right? I wish we evolved from them, but we didn't. All right. So humans, on the other hand, breathe in first and then exhale, leaving a lot of stale air in our lungs. We exchange only about 10 to 15% in our lungs with every breath, while whales exchange about 80 to 90%, all right? And another interesting thing about that, the blowhole and the mouth, okay, their digestive system and their respiratory system are totally separate. They're not like ours, okay, but basically they were connected like other mammals. When a blue whale dives, it slows down blood flow to the organs it doesn't need. This includes muscles and digestive systems. This helps to conserve oxygen for the whale's brain and other vital organs. Every way that this was created to make sure that he can go down 1,500 feet, he can find this krill so he can pull it out so the krill can eat the photoplankton and everybody's happy. I don't know about the krill, you know. And the blue whales experience this. You see the blue whales there? They're all sleeping. They're all sleeping there. Blue whales experience a sleep state called slow wave sleep. During this state, only 1/2 of their brain sleeps at a time. This allows them to control breathing and movement while asleep. This ensures that they don't sink, can easily rise to breathe, whether sleeping horizontally or vertically. The two brain hemispheres gradually switched over, so the whale experiences no disruptions in breathing or other functions as it transitions between awake and sleep states. Amazing creature. Now, this, I'll just show you a part of this, but this is what's on YouTube from the evolutionist, how the blue whale got here. Okay? This is how the blue whale came about.
Ever wondered how wolves turned into whales? Mm-hmm. Yep, you heard that right. Today we're diving into the incredible evolutionary journey of whales. So strap in, because this story is as wild as it gets.
Oh, yeah.
Millions of years ago, there was a land-dwelling creature, kind of like a wolf, but with amphibious hunting skills. Meet the Pachycetus.
Yep.
This early ancestor of modern whales roamed the earth around 50 million years ago,
Well,
sniffing out prey along riverbanks. Imagine a furry, four-legged hunter with sharp teeth, but with a twist, it could swim. As time passed, Pachycetus evolved. The evolution was driven by shifting landscapes and changing climates. Water levels rose and food sources moved underwater. Our furry predator had to adapt or perish.
Now we got an alligator.
Ambulocetus. Think of it as a crocodile-wolf hybrid, moving seamlessly between land and water, hunting anything it can
And
get
you
its
have
jaws
transitional
on.
forms. for all
But the
these, right?
evolutionary journey
Yes,
is
yeah.
far from over. Over millions of years,
And there it is.
proto-whales
Marginal,
ventured deeper
but they
into the ocean.
teach kids this.
Their legs transformed into flippers and their bodies streamlined for efficient swimming.
All right,
I
so,
wish I had his faith.
oh, man, yes, really, that's some deep face there. Baleen, okay, so everything about them, the baleen screens, the big mouth, the stretch grooves, huge heart and lungs, could not survive with something smaller, neutrally buoyant, too heavy. It would always be sinking to light, can't swim very deep. All right, so separate respiratory and digestive. It's everything, all these animals, all these mammals that were created in 2 days with just a thought. And it just amazes me. Thank you very much.
So Steve, Pachycetus has kind of been blown up, hasn't it?
Right, there's a sequence in Pachycetus, Ambulocetus, and Rhodocetus, maybe there's 2 or 3 of them. Carl Werner does a great job in his first or second book of showing the problems. He went to the actual scientists who documented those, and when they put them in the museums, they said, oh, look, this mammal has a fluted tail. It's on its way to becoming a whale. Well, it turns out the only thing they didn't discover in the bones was the tail. So they added a fluted tail because it fit the story. It was convenient. And he shows all these problems with those, all of those particular so-called intermediate forms. It's terrible. And there's disagreement. Some say it was a wolf. Some say it was more of a bear. Or a cow. I mean, if you're making up a story, you're going to get some.
I would believe a cow. One thing I forgot to tell you about the blue whale is that once, I mean, can you imagine being 350,000 pounds going through the ocean? How big the muscle has to be to propel that? They claim now that 1/3 of the body weight of the blue whale is muscle, is his tail muscle, which propels them forward to make sure. 1/3 of the weight. All right. So, okay, go ahead, Barb.
So before we have questions, I couldn't help but notice that you talked about 3 animals.
Mammals.
You talked about 3 mammals, and every one of them you talked about their poop. Am I the only one that noticed that?
Well, that's an important part of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's when Denny puts these together, and I mean, I just can't imagine these scientists who are far smarter than I could ever could be. I can't imagine how they can look at this and just shut down that side of their brain.
Yeah.
And believe this all started with chemicals in a mud puddle with no hand to guide. When you look at the way the camel is absolutely designed in the desert, as you brought out numerous times, the whale, they're designed for the environment they're in. And they say that all these evolutionary changes were essentially because of the environment. It's mind-boggling. Questions for Denny? Gary.
You talked about the eyes, the camel and the elephant. How can that whale see the krill 1,500 feet down? Do they actually sees them, or his sensors detect the?
I would have to say he would detect the school of them.
School of them?
Yeah, that's what I would say. It detects it.
Yeah, the camel eyes, and Denny brought it up, but that's one of the most amazing things to me is they have 3 eyelids and one of them's clear.
Same with the elephant.
Yeah, so that if they get caught in a sandstorm, they just close the clear eye and they can still see, or the clear eyelid, the transparent eyelid, they can still see. Anyone else? Beverly.
I don't understand what the food is, the krill that they are eating. I've never heard that word before.
It's like shrimp. It's like shrimp, but smaller. Okay, it's just a very small creature that just in the schools together in large, huge amounts, thousands of them are together all the time. But it looks like a shrimp, but it's smaller than a shrimp.
Like I see on a plate, it's kind of maybe curved.
Yeah, it's kind of curved, but it's small. It's much smaller, and we don't eat them. No,
And it was just created for the,
for the blue whale, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
They eat the krill and then they surface so they can get the, the sauce, right?
Yeah, they put on top.
Yeah. Yep. So,
Any other questions? Scott, I know you gotta have a question.
No, I'm holding off.
yeah. Where's my internet?
Oh. Oh,
Gary?
How about some
Little bit.
social information regarding both the elephant and the camel? I think I heard the fact that the small elephants stay with their mothers for 16 years?
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, usually the females, the bulls will go out earlier.
You could do, if you did an internet search just on the elephant's trunk, that by itself is amazing. They can pick up a feather with their trunk. Think about that.
How do they know where the tip of that trunk is at?
Is what?
How do they know where the tip of that trunk is at?
Yeah. Yeah, really, the way it's
You're kidding me.
You didn't talk about the tail of the elephant. Don't most elephants have like a little
I did.
end on their tail?
Yeah, I showed the tail, and I talked about it.
They use it to swat insects.
Yes. Yes, they do. It's just that you just realize that you've got all these different mammals and they are so different. And every part of them got a special part of them that no other mammal has. So how do the evolutionists say what they say? It just amazes me that they even say it.
Fancy island.
A lot of evidence for intelligent design.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it really is.
All right. Any questions from home, Steve?
Nope.
All right. See, you
Yeah, got it thorough. I was thorough then.
you gave them everything they needed. All right.
Well, thank you.
Well, let's pray and then we'll go home. Remember, next month, is going to be, okay. It'll be Hannah Klein and the presentation is Our Finely Tuned Universe. So let's pray. Lord God Almighty, thank you for Denny tonight and his diligence in learning about these animals so that he can share them with all of us. Thank you, Lord, for this amazing creation, which is beyond anything that we could comprehend. And we just praise your holy name tonight. Please keep everyone safe on their travels home. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.